Let's get the Facebook Live moving. Let's get whatever else we got going on YouTube moving and all that good stuff. Radio station is moving. Everything is just moving. Is that the way to say it? Everything is just moving. All right. Again, 2 minutes past 8 o'clock hour this morning on WNCR-TV. Now, let me share the Facebook Live video this morning. Let me do that. Those who'll be coming on used to be coming on about 15, 20 minutes past the hour. Not today, obviously. Not today. Let me see. Good Tuesday morning at highlights. There we go. All right, so we did that. And let me just do it to here as well. Oh, I know. I need to do that another way. Go here. Go to WNCR. Wncr-Tv. Here. Good morning. Okay. All right, so got those things shared there this morning on WNCR-TV Now, as we talk about things impacting our state, our city, and our nation. Good morning to each and every one of you. I think one of the topics across this country is the release of the MLK files, Martin Luther King Jr. files that have been released. Of course, the King family issued a statement. We will look at that in just a second. Let me do something here. Okay. All right. Okay. So yeah, so they released a statement there. About a day ago. About a day ago. And there's a statement released in the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination files from Dr. Martin Luther King III and Dr. Bernice King. It says, we recognize that the release of the documents concerning the assassination of our father, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., has been a long subject of interest, captivating public curiosity for decades. As the children of Dr. King and Miss Coretta Scott King, his tragic death has been intensely personal grief, a devastating loss for his wife, children, and the granddaughter he never met. An absence of our family has endured for over 57 years. We ask those who engage with the release of those files to do so with empathy, restraint, and respect for our family continuing to grieve. The release of these files must be viewed within their full historical context. During our father's lifetime, he was relentlessly targeted by an invasive, predatory, and deeply disturbing disinformation and surveillance campaign orchestrated by J. Edgar Hoover through the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI. The intent of the government's campaign was not only to monitor, but to discredit, dismantle, and destroy Dr. King's reputation and the broader American civil rights movement. These actions were not only invasive of privacy, but intentionally assaults on the truth, undermining the dignity and freedom of private citizens who fought for justice, designed to neutralize those who dared to challenge the status quo. In 1999, our family filed a wrongful death civil lawsuit in Shelby County, Tennessee. The jury unanimously concluded that our father was a victim of a conspiracy involving Lord Jowers and unnamed co-conspirators, including government agencies, as a part of a wider scheme. The verdict was also affirmed that someone other than James Earl Ray was the shooter, and that Mr. Ray was set up to take the blame. Our family views the verdict as an affirmation of our long-held beliefs. As we review these newly released files, we will assess whether they offer additional insight beyond the findings our family has already accepted. While we support transparency and historical accountability, we object to any attacks on our father's legacy or attempts to weaponize it to spread falsehoods. We strongly condemn any attempts to misuse these documents in ways intended to undermine our father's legacy, and with the significant achievements of the movement, those who promote the fruit of the FBI surveillance will unknowingly align themselves with an ongoing campaign to degrade our father and the civil rights movement. Instead of repeating the injustices of the past, we encourage the public to continue the work that our father began, building equity, justice, and peace for all. Now more than ever, we must honor his sacrifice by committing ourselves to the realization of his dream, a society rooted in compassion, unity, and equality. Let us move forward together, inspired by our father's enduring vision of the beloved community, a world made possible when we choose to center love in all that we do. By embracing passion, mutual respect, and justice, we can transform his dream into our shared reality. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. III and Dr. Bernice A. King. And please note that the King family will not be conducting any interviews on this matter at this time. And that statement is found on the kingcenter.org website there. So, again, the Trump administration has released records of the FBI surveillance of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. despite opposition from the slain noble family and civil rights groups that he led until 1968 assassination. The release involves more than 240,000 pages of records that have been under a court-imposed seal since 1977, when the FBI first gathered the records and turned them over to the National Archives and Records Administration. King's family, including his two living children, Martin III, 67, and Bernice, 62, were given advance notice of the release, and advance notice of release, and had their own teams reviewing the records ahead of public disclosure. Those efforts continued even as the government unveiled the digital trove. Caller, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Brooks.
Good morning.
Now, my thought on this is, no matter who does an investigation, especially during the time of Martin Luther King's assassination, as we get older, as the world changes, you get more technology coming in. What in the world are they looking for? I don't understand that. The man is dead. You can't bring him back. Why you want to go around stirring up memories like that? We know what it was all about. And also the Kennedys. But what you looking for? Just don't understand why we spend so much money digging in unnecessary information. I'm quite sure there's more that the Trump administration can do other than junk like that. Like them cutting Medicaid, SNAP, and all those other social programs. They're not a stimulus check with that money. You don't wrong somebody. Give us our 40 acres and a mule. Use that money to help us. Instead of they doing some stupid crap like that. The man ain't coming back. you worked for him when he was out there protesting. So why not? You ain't got no interest in this man. And nobody else. Trump looking out for himself. Now he got Melania out there pimping her. It's something she just came out with using her name. Now they got the telephone. I wouldn't buy nothing associated with Trump's name. I'm going to be quite honest with you. Because all you doing is shredding his pocket. But yesterday, when I heard that, I said, oh, this is just baloney here. They won't interested then. They won't interested in his messages. I bet you they can't recite none of them. Could even hold a decent conversation about what the man was protesting about. Because you don't care. You don't care now. You don't care then. Look at all what he was doing. Everything he was fighting against, Trump has fought against it too. So we got to think about what these administrators and politicians are doing nowadays. And while I have you on the phone this morning, I did find out that tourism, talking about tourism, Nash County tourism, their lease is a 5-year lease. $4,033 a month.
Right.
But according to my calculator, they still lost some money. And why are they paying that 5-year lease all at one time? Now, when I was doing my budget, I did it month for month, year for year. Why are you paying somebody 5 years and that the lease haven't been, you haven't used the lease space? And perhaps the contract was written, no matter what, you're going to pay me. But you're going to wait for it. You're going to get it on a 5-year term. Mm-hmm. Did the lease say that? If you pay me in full before you can utilize the building?
No, they're still paying the lease a month. They didn't pay the lease all at one time. They have to account for the money in the year in which the lease is going into act. So the $242,000 is given credit for last fiscal cycle. That's when the lease went into effect. But they're still paying the lease on a monthly basis for the 5 years. And for me, I just think it's going to be it's going to be a whole bunch of financial confusion. And I get it for private sector because private sector able to write off their entire lease expense in their first year because they're trying to maintain operating profits by having a whole bunch of expenses out there and versus deferring the costs. They can defer it all in that 1 year. So in government, I don't see why that principle makes any sense. But again, I ain't in that space. But that's essentially what it is. They're still paying the $4,000 odd on a monthly basis. But as far as accounting records, that total expense is noted at the time they entered the lease agreement.
Okay. Well, let me say this. If I'm going to write an editorial to that magnitude, why did they put down how much the lease were monthly per year, then the 5 years? Perhaps we as normal people would have understood what was actually going on. And then, wait a minute.
Go ahead.
And then, what else was included in the lease? See, people throw stuff out and don't know what they're talking about. Because they need to know what's amazing.
Absolutely.
So, what are we doing here? I don't see this type of money that people tell me they're paying for rent here in Rocky Mount. It doesn't justify the median income. And then you got to think about your transportation. You got to think about your food. You got to think about your utility bill and all those other expenses. Ain't nobody making that type of money here in Rocky Mount to pay those, to me, ridiculous prices. And you got to consider the size of the little houses downtown at the mill. They're nice, but those are tiny little things. I bet you can't put a bed and a dresser in a bedroom. So, isn't tourism, is it down there at the mill? Where is it located?
Say it again.
Where is Rocky Mount? I mean, that kind of tourism located.
Oh, they're right there on Falls Road, right across from the Mills. I guess all is
Okay.
considered the Mills, but they're right there on the corner, whatever street that is. But right on Falls Road.
Ain't nothing down there justifying that now. In that white building, I think. Is it a white building?
It's across the street from the main mill campus.
Yeah, I
I
seen the
think.
building. I'm wondering what it was. Okay. Mm-mm. That's just ridiculous to me. But anyway, and I want to fact check something this morning, being that I have you on the phone. And I consulted with Councilman Blackwell. It was back in March of this year when I asked him if he was going to run. I have not asked him in present days like a couple of weeks ago. And some people want people to think that I asked him here recently, but I did not. It was back in March. But the word on the street was that he was not going to run. And I did the honorable thing. I waited. I called the Board of Elections every day to see had he filed. When I was getting ready to turn my paperwork in, they told me he had filed on that Friday, and I was getting ready to do mine on that following Wednesday. But that's okay. And if this individual loved me, I would hate to know what he would do to his enemies. So ain't nowhere in the world somebody that loves somebody would do what he did to me. Yes, I'm still angry at him. And it's going to be a long time before I clear my throat from that incident. So you keep loving, but I'm going to stay away from him. Thank you.
Thank you. 252-407-8432. That's 252-407-8432. Again, 20 minutes past 8 o'clock hour this morning on WNCR-TV. I want to say good morning to Irma Maxwell. A terrific Tuesday. Larry Woodley, good morning to you as well. Alice Bailey, Alfreda Perkins, Vernice Harris, Deborah Gunter, Reginald Manning, Allison Williams, and Gwendolyn Swain. Thank you all for tuning in this morning to WNCR-TV Now. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, I love Alice Davis too, but I said yesterday she had asked him several months ago, and she spoke directly with him. So if he didn't come back and tell her he was not running, then that was just rumor through the grapevine. But she heard it from the horse's mouth. And whatever she's talking about, she need to get over it, because I did not get on your show and talk about no candidate being a bully, carrying a gun. So sometimes people bring stuff on themselves, and I know she's going to call back in, but I got a meeting. And I don't have no ill will against Miss Davis. But like I said, sometimes people can write a check that they can't cash. I would just warn her, be careful what you say, because I didn't want to see nothing happen to nobody. And I say that to anybody. People say that to me. I had to learn too. But anyway, y'all have a blessed day.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
22 minutes past 8 o'clock hour. Andre Smiley, good morning to you as well. Thank you for tuning in to WNCR-TV Now as we continue to talk about things impacting our state, our city, and our nation this morning. We certainly appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. Of course, the Cosby Show's actor, commonly known as Theo Huxtable, of course, has lost his life as Malcolm Jamal Warner has died of a drowning incident in Costa Rica, I think it was, at the age of 54. And so condolences to his family as well, and any bereaved family that's in our community or all across this world. Just condolences to them all. We do hope that folks will be there as you need them and won't leave after the situation, after the services and things are over. Another thing, Enfield, the town of Enfield, Mayor Mondale was, Rondale, I think it is. was on Facebook Live, I think, last night, talking about what's going on at Enfield. Parts of Enfield was out power because of the storm that went through our community. I think everything is on. Grids 1 through 5 is on. The final grid 6 is not on. And they're supposedly working throughout today and the upcoming hours and et cetera to try to get that back on so that all of Enfield is with power. But there were a couple of things that was wrong with it, and dealing with the infrastructure of the distribution of the electric system. Some of that was, I think they did an assessment based on what I remember from hearing it last night when I was looking at the video. It's about a $40 million cost in order to deal with some of the infrastructure needs that they have, I think it was. And some of that money was allegedly earmarked through the federal government to help small communities such as Enfield, who met such numbers to be able to qualify for such money. But the current administration currently has blocked such money from happening. And so here are some of the direct byproducts results of the type of administration that we have today that is aiding in a number of people being without power, being without ways to medicate their medicine, and losing food, and those, and just the peace of mind and the comfortability of a home, not having access to that. And of course, I think they had a backup thing in place, and even that failed as well. And so, I guess the long and juts of it, you can't piecemeal together. You got to do the necessary needs that it has to maintain its functionality, and that's kind of where we are now as it relates to that. Another piece of talk about news is going on. Well, here it is. So cool. So in Louisville, Kentucky, or Louisville, Kentucky, should I say, a federal judge on Monday sentenced former Kentucky police officer to nearly 3 years in prison for using excessive force during the deadly 2020 Breonna Taylor raid, rebuffing a U.S. Department's justice recommendation of no prison time for the defendant. You know, some stuff just don't need to be said, right? And so why that statement came out from the administration about 1 day of jail time or something of that nature is just interesting. Anyway, so Brett Hankerson, who fired 10 shots during the raid but didn't hit anyone, was the only officer on the scene charged in the black woman's death. He was the first person sentenced to prison in a case that rocked the city of Louisville and spawned weeks of street protests over police brutality that year. The U.S. District Judge Rebecca Gradley Jennings, in the sentencing of Hankerson, said no prison time is not appropriate and would minimize the jury's verdict from November. Jennings said she was startled that there weren't more people injured in the raid from Hankerson's blind shots. She sentenced him to 49 to 33 months in prison for the conviction of using excessive force, with 3 years of supervised probation following the prison term. He will not report directly to prison. The U.S. Bureau of Prisons will determine where and when he starts his sentence. That's interesting. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump, who helped the Taylor family secure $12 million in a wrongful death settlement against the city of Louisville, had called the department's recommendation an insult to the life of Breonna Taylor and a blatant betrayal of the jury's decision. Crump was at Monday's hearing and said he had hoped for a longer sentence, but was grateful that Hankerson at least is going to prison for he think those 3 years about Breonna Taylor and her life mattered. You know, and so then you say, hey, how in the world? Why? You know, it goes back to I'm going back now to the years of protesting that was in the streets and the Black Lives Matter movement and these kind of things, and just the justice system in general. When we know that emphatically there are people who are in prison, who have died in prison, who have been enslaved because of their prison status historically for crimes in which they did not commit, but merely because of who they was. And that is somewhat the same reality today. Going off that vein, I spoke to someone yesterday who lives in Ward 3 who said, look, I don't participate in municipal elections because everybody get up there and they don't do nothing for the community. He pointed to me right down from his house a tree that has grown up in a stormwater drain, and he basically said that a city official laughed at him in regards to cleaning it up, and that the street sweepers seem to never be working when it's time to clean up his area or street in the community. And so, he gave me a number of things, talked about suspected drug activity in the community, and with nothing being done about that. And even mentioned on one incident where he did call law enforcement, which he now says he don't call law enforcement as much, because he called law enforcement about an incident that happened, and the police officer showed up to his door and said, "Are these the people you're talking about?" So he said from that point on, he just stopped calling the police. I said it had to be a new untrained officer to do something like that. That just didn't. I don't know when that happened, so I can't speak to the time and place as to when it happened. I just was having a conversation with him, but I will say, after the conversation I had with him, he said he's gonna hang my little door knocker in his house, and he's going to vote in this municipal election, and he'll be down there after I am sworn into office to remind me to hold true to helping to change the community. And I always remind people this, that one singular council person cannot do that by themselves. It is going to take a majority, and actually I would hope all decisions are unanimous decisions as to how to move the community and city forward. And so for me, you never hear me talk about what we're going to do, what kind of promises there are, because I understand how to do math. And one vote out of 7 will get you a failed vote. So it's going to take a minimum of 4 votes to move anything any direction for the city. And so it's important that if you're truly engaged and wanting the community to move forward, and particularly Ward 3 in this instance, it would certainly mean that relationships with fellow council members is going to be important and necessary for the upward mobility in our community. I'll say that. 252-407-8432. I want to say good morning also to Deborah Manning. Good morning also to Gloria Brake. Thank you for tuning in to Wncr-Tv as we continue to talk about things impacting our state, our city, and our nation this morning. And of course, it's going to be a hot one. It's already hot now. Let's look here at this weather. Well, it just feels hot, but 72 degrees, highs near 88, so a little bit cooler actually. And for Wednesday, expect highs near 88 as well, with lows near 68 degrees. And for Thursday, 40% chance of showers with highs near 89 degrees. Hey, caller, good morning, on the air.
Mr. Bronson, the Breonna Taylor case. Now, that police officer, did he shoot Breonna?
I haven't been following that case. I couldn't even go back and tell you what happened.
Well, they said careless, excessive force.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if he didn't shoot her, who did?
I don't know, and they couldn't prove that he shot her, but know that she was. And so his gun fired. So I don't know the parameters of that case, so I couldn't speak intelligently about it.
Well, it was several officers shooting, so I'm just trying to figure out what's going on with that case.
Yeah, it could be multiple people charged.
Because they said excessive force, and even though they're not assigned the same bullets, all of them got different bullets. So that should be easily to determine who actually shot her. And the gentleman that you interviewed yesterday over in Ward Through, based on your conversation this morning, he's exactly right. You don't see street sweepers over here. I've seen them one time this year over in my neighborhood. And I don't understand why they don't go with odd, even days when sweeping the street. Because the very day that he came over here, he couldn't sweep where I parked it.
And
It would be so much easier.
To your original question, Miles Cosgrove was the one who fired the fatal shot to Breonna Taylor. And the Brett Hankerson individual who was sentenced on yesterday, I guess he had reckless behavior. So he fired shots and it didn't hit anyone, but did penetrate the walls in the neighboring unit.
Right.
So that's why he was charged.
Okay. So have they brought the case up with the man who actually did the killing?
That I don't know. A no-knock warrant.
Because it appears to me, now I'm not a genius, it would appear to me that he would be the first one that they try and sentence him before this person. I thought that's what you said, excessive force. That's what he was charged with. But here again, I do feel that he should get more than 1 day of time served. And I believe it was yesterday on WRAL where I saw this police officer grab this little boy out of the car and just beat on him.
Coming in Kinston?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was crazy. I saw that video. That was...
and I'm like...
And Kinston just had another issue.
You break the boy's window, you grab him out the car, you pull his dreadlocks, you're doing everything to the little fella. I was like, oh, they know they got cameras on them. Don't they know somebody's going to see it? Don't they review their cameras every day when they get off duty?
Oh, I don't think so. No. They'd only review them if it calls for a need to review.
See, Ben Crump need this case. Because that you talk about excessive force.
Yeah,
that little boy, I felt so sorry for him. I didn't know what in the world to do. I'm like, how in the heck are you going to break somebody's window, pull the boy out of the car, and then decide that you're going to get up there and try to justify? About the camera don't show everything. The boy's mouth was closed. He ain't said nothing to those officers. He's sitting there just as stunned as I am looking at him.
Well, no, I saw more video than that now. So he was engaged. So the piece of video I saw, he did engage in a conversation with him. I think he was asking about what's the purpose and this, that, and third. So again, there is some longer footage that I guess hasn't been shown either. And maybe even longer from what I saw based on what you're saying that the TV station might have shown as well. So I did see some interaction between the officer and the individual. But again,
But when he was sitting in the car, I didn't see the little boy saying anything. They were breaking the window. Oh
yeah, I saw. Well, so the video I saw, he definitely engaged in conversation with the officers. But again, even what he said in that short snippet, I didn't see it justifiable to break the window as he did and snatch him out that vehicle and then do whatever they did. And it was some more conversation even after that. I think when they got him on the ground. And so maybe that video I saw on somebody else's page and maybe whatever, but. So I did see a longer video, I guess, than what they showed on TV because.
Okay, because the part that they stopped was when I saw it, when they pulled him out the car and he grabbed his dreadlocks like he was a cow. Yeah. I was like, he ain't got no horns on him. Oh, Lord Jesus. And what got me for the captain to try to justify stuff? And if they showed that part, why did they? Well, you say you heard conversation, but I didn't. Yeah. Didn't know what station was looking at, but it was awful. It's right here in our community. Kingston ain't nowhere from us.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. And yeah, I forgot this. I said, thank you, Ms. Jenkins. And so they remember the Hankerson guy in the Breonna Taylor case did get 3 years of a prison sentence, and then of course 3 years of probation thereafter. So he didn't get 1 day. Of course, the Trump administration said he should get 1 day.
But, don't say that to me about Trump because he is just
So that's.
I'm sorry. I got a bitter taste in my mouth with Trump and his entire administration. I really do, because he is so undesirable to me. And if people are letting him get away with stuff that he shouldn't. How can you take food out of our mouths and send it over to other countries? Does that make sense? How can you send aid to another country and get to see you want to cut everything here?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody think about stuff like that but me? Anyway, you have a good day.
You too. So, I'm not sure if Miles Cargrove was actually charged in the Breonna Taylor's death. Yeah, again, I remember when they were initially talking about it and kind of lost where it was. But all I see is that there was that the courts upheld firing the officer that shot Breonna Taylor. So it looks like he tried to get his job back. It says Kentucky Courts of Appeal ruled that Chief Gentry properly terminated Detective Miles Cosgrove for violating the department's use of force policy. Cosgrove was one of the handful of officers involved in executing a search warrant at Breonna Taylor's apartment in March of 2020. He fired the fatal round that killed the 26-year-old Taylor, a black woman. Her death sparked months of racial protests. Yeah, so I don't think he was found no error in the decision. So yeah, I'll have to take time to look at that more. But that's that. That's that. Here we are. All right, so 252-407-8432. That's 252-407-8432. I think I did already go through yesterday a list of individuals who will be who are running. They're running for the various awards in our community. So I think we got you abreast to that. And of course, I know there's a lot of conversation about the no left turns down Old Carriage Road. And just a reminder, as I see this popped up today, July 22nd, which is today, the Nash County Public Schools will be conducting an active shooter drill. This is a joint training session between local fire, law, and EMS agencies. There will be large emergency service presence in the area, but it's a training exercise only. So I know between now and later on today, when somebody in Seattle calls, what's going on at the school? Anybody see all these police officers? Da, 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 da. So again, the school system is closed today as they are obviously having a joint fire drill. Active shooter drill. And in fact, let me share this to the Wncr-Tv Facebook page as well. But again, I'm assuming, and I could be completely wrong, but today at some point, somebody's gonna make a post that they ride by and see a large police presence there at the school. All right. So what else is I'm going to talk about here today? Of course, we talked about the weather. Gave you the weather forecast. Talked about how maybe this will give me the details of this too. And of course, in Enfield, they did declare a state of emergency. And of course, it says that some people in Enfield waking up Tuesday to the fourth day of no power as Mayor Mondale Robertson declared a state of emergency due to the widespread outages caused by Saturday storms. Some people in Enfield. So Monday, Mayor Robertson declared a state of emergency for the town, effective immediately as the town entered into another night without electricity. And of course, he talked about doing the state of emergency allowed those individuals who were receiving governmental assistance to be restored or made whole, things that they might have lost when it came to SNAP benefits and things of that nature. Says, I am devastated that we have a long swath of our town still without power. People have gone days without air conditioning, even as the heat index has been up to 100 degrees since the town went dark on Saturday. The closest weather station to Enfield is Rocky Mount. On Saturday, it was 97 degrees Fahrenheit in Rocky Mount, and the heat index was 108. On Sunday, it was 93 degrees with a heat index of 103. Robinson wrote that the storm had caused a disruption in Power's electric infrastructure, impacting the ability of residents and businesses to access essential services. This situation poses a risk to public safety, well-being, especially for vulnerable populations that rely on electricity for medical needs, heating, cooling, and communication. The power could be restored as early as Tuesday morning, but there's still a chance it'll be late Tuesday afternoon or later before relief returns. Robinson on Monday asked residents to refrain from the overwhelming county and state the residents to refrain from overwhelming county and state partners with calls, saying this may delay the necessary resources to address the town's concern. Enfield's power grid is nearly 50 years old. The mayor is calling on federal and state government to help Enfield rebuild its grid before the next storm hits. We're trying to figure out how do we make North Carolina understand that this problem is catastrophic for not just those who are on assistance, but the entire town lost food and other necessities. And of course, he said this in the Facebook Live video on last night. Robinson said federal funding promised through the Biden administration isn't being dispersed. He said it's been the funding would help, of course, Enfield's infrastructure. We found out that the aging system needs to be updated, as well as we need modern technology. And so that's where they are with that. And we do hope that things work out in their favor. And the town is working closely with Dominion to restore power as quickly as possible. What a devastating time there. And I do remember saying there's a shelter, cooling center, and charging bank is still running at Enfield Middle School, I think formerly the Boarding Middle School or elementary school. And I heard him say last night the OIC Medical Clinic will be in town today to help people with checking their vitals and doing checkup or something. Hey, caller, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing well. Hope you are.
Won't that said when they were passing that bill that a lot of these little small towns and counties and all that was going to be hurt by what they was doing? It showed up.
Absolutely.
And think about this weather ain't getting no better. It's
That's
going.
right.
I mean, the Bible tells us that. I was surprised on Saturday that we didn't have a lot of power outage with all that thunder and lightning and rain. So I'm just looking at, I feel for the people that still going through this. And we ain't even started having hurricanes yet.
No. Yeah. Next
We
month
just
kicks it
having
off.
rain and fire. And my son asked me a question yesterday. He said, Mom, he said, don't the Bible say he's going to destroy the earth with fire this time and not rain? I said, yeah, but it's a lot of water coming too.
Mm-hmm.
So these people haven't recovered. Look down there in Durham. They don't know where they're going to get the money from. We may have that kind of money in these southern states. The big states take care of most of the government money, California and places like that. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't know this, but if you read, I mean, they say, well, the old people don't do nothing but watch the news. You better watch something so you'll know what's going on around you. So that's what I'm saying. These people should have been back on. But if they can't get the parts, they can't get the parts. Mm-hmm. It's just sad. And you think about if this happened to a whole lot of us at one time, everybody can't buy a generator. Mm-hmm. So all we can do is pray that they get everything up and they be able to come up with the money. And I think every little town or every little whatever need to be looking at their grids now to see if they got any equipment that they'll be able to use if something happened to them. Don't you think so?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. May mentioned yesterday of the city of Fayetteville, North Carolina, having 10 candidates. And so there will be an election for the mayor of Fayetteville in 2025. And there are 10 candidates running for mayor. Mitch Colvin, the incumbent who initially announced that he would not seek re-election, but reversed his decision and filed to run before the deadline on July the 18th. And so they will have a primary in October, which is October 7th, and then a general election in November on the 4th. Hey, caller, good morning.
Mr. Boston, my thought was that is, and Miss Common Sense was exactly right. Why didn't the mayor or why don't officials, county, state, city officials, partner with some of these hotels for individuals with medical needs? Now, I know you said that a school was available for cooling off, but some people need more than just cooling, and the privacy is very important. And I don't understand why they don't partner with one or two of the hotels in an event of a catastrophic happening such as this. Now, the mayor said, according to your reading, he knew it was old. Well, if you knew it was old, why are you talking about it now when you should have had it fixed a long time ago?
No, to his point, he said he was getting money for the infrastructure bill during the Biden administration, but that money has not come through.
Right, but that's what I was about to say.
Mm-hmm.
Did everybody get some of that money, the towns?
Did who?
Did the towns get that American Rescue Fund money? The infrastructure and all of that?
Oh, I'm sure, but I'm sure Enfield would have got a small amount based on the population side. I think it was based on population.
Right, but still, if you got the money, what you holding on to it for?
No, I'm sure they spent that money as they required to spend it.
Well, I tell you what, I feel sorry for them, but I feel that a school is okay for those individuals who don't have, medical needs. But individuals that does, I feel that they should have more privacy. You're in an open setting at a school. I'm quite sure they're going to put you in the gym or the auditorium, whichever they want to call it. You ain't going to have no classroom to go in. And it's just too many people, in one place for privacy. Then you got to go way down the hall to use the bathroom. Come on now. I just feel they should partner with a hotel. Or one or two of them. Thank you.
Thank you. 252-407-8432. That's 252-407-8432. Here's the number call to participate in today's conversation. Yeah, it doesn't even say how much Enfield actually would have received. It's probably in documentation somewhere, but I would assume they didn't get a lot. And again, the what was noted was it was going to take about $40,000 to fix what it is they were looking. Let me see if I can find that. Facebook. The Facebook. Let me see if I can find that video from last night. It was Enfield Police Department, I think, Facebook account that was sharing, or was it fire? It's the fire department. One of these departments. No, I don't think it was the fire department. So one of the commissioners for Enfield was, let's see if this is it. After the mayor spoke, it's 9 hours ago. Yeah, it's at this meeting right here. All right, let's see if we can share some of the conversation. From not the mayor, because I think he talks about it, but then the other individual. forgot what his name is. He began to say a couple of things.
On our electric department. In defense of what the mayor is saying, he and I were on a task force every Tuesday since last January of 2024, working to restore our electric grid. And we had a comprehensive plan done. The scientists, architects, technicians, they had came in, they had assessed our electric grid and those things. The grant was submitted. It was costing us $40 million to replace our electric grid. And as the mayor said, when a new administration came in, they decided they were going in a different direction. We lost that funding. However, in my opinion, it doesn't matter to me who's in the White House. Enfield still is going to have the need that Enfield needs. And so we've not laid down and rolled over. We're currently in meetings now. That funding was coming in one package, but I've been talking to our state senators, and we do have a meeting planned on Wednesday. They're going to provide the town with grant options that will not necessarily pay for our electric infrastructure in one funding bill, but several of them to get it done. So getting that grid rebuilt is Enfield's lifeline. If we don't get that,
So there it is. So looks like there is some relief on the way by doing something as it relates to it. And so, of course, to the other caller's point, this is something they had did the necessary assessment with and had submitted applications, and I guess they got the approval for such, and then that was stayed. And so they find themselves in this situation here. It's the almost a I told you so type situation. So something they noted, something they was working toward, something they were blocked and delayed on. And so now here we are having to deal with what they just dealt with these past 4 days in Enfield because of the infrastructure that is not in place. And that was a part of the infrastructure bill that was passed during the Biden administration, and to really deal with some of the antiquated, outdated infrastructures that exist all across America. During the passing of that particular bill, I think there was a bridge that collapsed somewhere up north, and just realizing the need to really deal with infrastructure in our community and our communities rather across this country, but also understanding that the cost to repair and replace those that small towns just can't afford it, including places like Rocky Mount. Rocky Mount has some high-priced infrastructure needs when it comes to our water system and some other things that they need to start looking at before it becomes bad as well. And there are some things they have done. I think they got about a $10 million grant from the federal government to address some areas of it. Obviously, you saw that the infrastructure when it comes to our storm water and how to deal with that capacity of large-scale water coming, that the infrastructure is not quite in place for that. So there's a lot of stuff that the community has to work on, but oftentimes the needs outweigh the dollars and the resources. Hey, caller.
Mr. Bronson, was that the mayor that was talking?
No, that was a commissioner. The mayor Monday was right beside him.
Okay. Well, anyway, didn't they give a time frame when that money had to be spent before they take it back?
The American Rescue money? Yes.
Okay.
That's 2026, though.
Okay.
Okay.
That's what I thought. Anyway, I still don't accept his excuses.
Got it.
Because they knew that money had to be utilized in a certain period of time.
Wait a minute. I think you didn't hear what he said then, because that's not what he was talking about.
Right.
He didn't talk about nothing about no American Rescue money. What he talked about was there was a plan.
The current administration. He said that the current administration took the money back.
Correct. After the previous administration, so the money was awarded during the Biden administration, but never delivered to them. And when the new administration came in, because when they do this $2 trillion infrastructure budget, the government don't have $2 trillion just to give all across the country. So that money was being dispersed over several years. It probably was over 10 years for the infrastructure bill. I forget what the numbers are. Even this big, beautiful bill goes for a series of years as well. So that monies was never given to Enfield. And the new administration basically was saying they weren't going to do it. Now, after this has happened, now they're saying, well, I guess we got to kind of do that now, right? So the Enfield, from the limited information I know about Enfield, I don't see any fault from their limited capacity to do what they do and a failing federal government not to support the state government. So hopefully they're going to do what they're going to do to support the needs. But I'm pretty sure that budget is probably less than $1 million a year, just like the Princefield's budget. So they're just not going to have the wherewithal to do it.
Well, he did say that somebody was coming in on Wednesday. They're going to discuss it.
Mm-hmm.
So why wait until something happens? They should have called him in prior to this.
They, again, to their
anyway,
point, was trying to get. I
that-
appreciate you. I appreciate you.
Uh-huh,
Because they were trying to get this to be done prior to this incident happened. So I do want folks to understand that, and I hope that I articulate in the way that is what it is, that Enfield was being proactive. They saw this during the Biden administration and needed the financing to make it happen. Biden administration, through the passing of the infrastructure bill, allowed some dollars to come. So it is not that Enfield dropped the ball and trying to play catch up because it happened. They noted to federal government and state agencies prior to now that they're going to need some support on this $40 million infrastructure that they need with their electricity grid. And so they talked about the urgency of this years ago. And even most recently, he said they've been meeting every Tuesday since January of 2024 to try to get monies in place to fix this. And then the storm comes, and this is where we are today. So I don't see that being Enfield's fault. I see Enfield trying to do what they were trying to do to make it happen. And I see them working expeditiously to try to get power restored to citizens. That's just, and then we can find out what their budget is, but I can assure you that if they had $40 million sitting in the coffers, that they would have addressed this issue as they were trying to address it prior to this happening. But I'll see you tomorrow to do it all over again on Wncr-Tv Now as we talk about things impacting our state, our city, and our nation. Making a great and fantastic Tuesday, and stay as cool as possible.